Hey guys, Mr. Notestein here. I thought I'd quickly try to show you how to take footage that you've shot from either our Sony camera or a GoPro, import it into Final Cut Pro, and save it onto one of our hard drives. So the first thing you're going to need is either a GoPro if you shot with a GoPro, or if you shot with the big Sony camera, you're going to need the SD card from the Sony camera. And you're also going to need one of our external hard drives. They're all numbered. Make sure you remember which number you have. The external hard drive has a cord that's USB on one end, and you're also going to need a cord to go with the GoPro that's mini USB on one end and USB on the other. You're going to take both your cords. You're going to take the iMac and swivel it very carefully, and being careful to stay on the bevel and not on the screen. And you're going to plug the cords into the USB slots on the back. Until we have our slots on the bottom, that's how we're going to do that. So got that plugged in, and I've got my hard drive plugged in. And if I'm using my SD card, I'm going to make sure that I have it facing the right direction, and I'm going to plug the SD card. There's a slot for it on the back of the iMac, and I'm going to push that SD card in. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take the GoPro, and I'm going to remove the GoPro from the case. So I'm going to flip it up. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take it out. And on the side is a slot for the mini USB, and I'm going to take my mini USB cord and I'm going to plug that into my GoPro. I'm not going to turn the GoPro on yet though. I'm going to set it off to the side. Okay, when I first log into the computer, what you're going to see is now our hard drive, WHS Media 2, and our SD card, no name, is in the upper right-hand corner. So I've got both those. The very first thing I'm going to do when I log into the computer though is I'm going to go to the Apple symbol in the upper left. I'm going to click on it, select System Preferences. I'm going to double click on mouse. I'm going to make sure that all these boxes are selected for point and click and all the boxes for more gestures. And my personal preference on my scroll direction, I like it more like a Windows mouse, so I'm going to unselect that. You're going to do that every time you start the computer again. You're going to now go down to Finder, and I'm going to click on Applications. I'm going to change it to List View so I can see them all. And the program you're looking for to do this is Final Cut Pro. And I'm going to double click on that. And then I'm going to give it a second. So the first time it takes a little bit to load. And Final Cut Pro is going to come up. And you're going to get a little message that you're going to have to click Continue. And so I'll click Continue. And we're into Final Cut Pro, one of our video editing softwares. How Final Cut Pro is organized is a structure with libraries, events, and projects. So our library are up here. And events are raw footage, and our projects are going to go down here, and that's our edited footage. So the very first thing we're going to do when we get into Final Cut Pro is we're going to go to File, and we're going to click New, and go to Library. And we're going to name our library, and I'm going to name this Notestein Test Footage. And then I'm going to click this down arrow next to it because we want to save on our external hard drive, which is very important because if we don't save on our external hard drive, we are going to lose all that we do. So now I've got a second period and a sixth period on this WHS Media number 2. I'm going to act like I'm in second period. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it Mr. Notestein. Click Create. And then I'm going to click Save. So now everything I do when I'm video editing today is going to be saved on the external hard drive. And here is my library, Notestein video test footage. And what I need to do first is I need to get some media in here. So that's my event, which is my raw footage. And if this ever pops up, just click OK. It's going to do that a lot till we figure it out. So I need to import some media. So I have a couple sources I can import media from. I can import it off the SD card, or I can import it off of the GoPro. And right now I don't have the GoPro on, so let's do it off of the SD card. And there we go. And oh, there's some footage I just shot on the Sony camera. So I'm going to want all that. So I'm going to click Import Selected. And there's my raw footage. It gets imported into my event. And you can tell the event because it has a star, and the library has 4 stars. So I've got my event right here. I'm going to go ahead and name my event. So just click it, and I'm going to name this. Name it Notestein Raw. It's raw footage. That sounds kind of bad, actually, so I'm going to go with something different there. Notestein event footage. Sounds better. And now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to import from my GoPro. So I'm going to turn my GoPro on, and you can't see it, but there's a button on the front that says Mode, and I'm going to hold that down for just a few seconds, and I'm going to let go. And it's going to beep. And I'm going to give it a second, and it's going to want to pop some stuff up. And I don't want to use iPhoto because we're not using it for that, but I do want to import this footage. So here's our footage. Oh, it was some that we shot at the rock climbing gym. I'm going to go ahead and click Import All, and it's going to add that to my event. And remember, this is all being saved to our external hard drive as we do this. Now what I need to go ahead and do is take my clips, or part of my clips, and we'll go over some of the more advanced editing techniques later, but we need to start a project. And a project is not raw footage anymore. It is edited footage. And the first thing we do, I tried to drag it down there. It doesn't work. I got to click New Project. And I'm going to name this Notestein Final Cut Pro. And I'm going to click OK. And now I have a new project started. And this is where I'm going to do my editing. And I'm going to go up to my events. And I'm going to take some of my raw footage. And I like this raw footage. And I'm going to go ahead and start it down here. So now I have a library, Notestein test footage. I have events, which is my raw footage. And I have a project started, a video editing project. And this is all being saved to the external hard drive. But you don't want to exit out of here too fast in case it's still being saved. And you can check on that by clicking on Window and going to Background Tasks. And everything is idle, which means everything is good to go. It's rendered. It's all good to go. If it all says idle, you're good. So I'm good to go. So then I'm going to click Final Cut Pro, and I'm going to quit Final Cut Pro because it's all saved on the hard drive. I'm done editing for the day. I'm going to come back tomorrow and check it out later. So I'm going to exit out, and I am good to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to eject my media, and I would put it here in the trash, and I would eject my SD card, and I'd put it here in the trash, and then I could pull out my hard drive and my SD card, and I'm going to remove both. A couple days down the line, I'm ready to work on my project again. I've got my media drive plugged in, WHS Media number 2, because that's where I saved my project before. I'm going to go up to the Apple quickly, and I'm going to fix my mouse preferences the way I like them. So I'm going to take care of that. And I'm good to go there. And so I'm going to go to the Finder, Applications. I like the list view. I can find things faster. I'm going to scroll down to Final Cut Pro. Double click on that. I'm going to wait for it to load, and I know from before that I've got to be a little bit patient here, and that error is going to pop up, and I'm going to click Continue as soon as it does. And there it is. And now I'm good to go, and it looks exactly the way it did before, and none of my stuff is there because it resets every time. So what I need to do now is I need to open that library from the external hard drive. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Open Library, and I'm going to go to Other. And I'm going to go to Locate because I need to locate it. And I'm going to select the external hard drive. Second period, Mr. Notestein, and there is my footage from before, and Notestein library. I'm going to open that library. I now have the whole library. I have the raw events, and I also have the project that I was working on, the edited footage, which is down below. So that's the basics of importing from a GoPro or from an SD card, and then saving your library onto an external hard drive so you can work on it later. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can post your questions in the comments below, or you can also ask me on Google Docs. Thanks.